Dude, my dad once, this is going all over this episode, but my friend Melanie realized this. My stepmother almost died. She ate like chicken that almost killed her. And when my dad told the story to me and my friend Melanie, we're standing in the driveway, you could see the peace in his face. He was so ready to not be married anymore. And then he was like, yeah, and then our neighbor saved her. But he said it with such regret. He's like, yeah, our neighbor saw her and saved her, But my dad's like, but we almost lost her. She could have been gone. And the peace in his face when he said she could have been gone versus the horror of the neighbor saving her. I mean, my friend Melanie knows. Let's see if my friend Melanie's awake. She's probably not, but she knows it was better than anybody. My friend Melanie was there for this whole thing where my father was literally like, oh my God. Because, he was married for most of his life. And then he got divorced and he goes, I'll get married again. And then you start realizing halfway through the second match, you go, what am I doing? I could just be single.
Right.
What's going on? How are you?
Pretty good.
Listen to me.
Good. What's up?
So you're on my podcast. I wanted you to tell the story real quick, if you can. Remember when my father told us my stepmother almost died and he was so happy?
Well, there was some guy who saved her. Like I think his name was Melodo or something like that. And I remember so he's, your stepmother's almost dead, and this guy named Melodo, a neighbor or something like that, came over and saved her life. And I remember your father gritted his teeth when he mentioned this guy's name. And he's like, and then Melodo came over and saved her and brought her back. And let me tell you something, bro. His teeth gritted, and it was I'll never forget your stepmother, man. You can make a podcast out of her.
She's she's a cold bitch. Now, because we're kind of trashing her on this episode because I've had about enough of her. She said today, I showed my father the FaceTime at the house. She says, right. How did somebody who never made any decision, any right decision in his whole life end up there? It's like, shut up, you cunt. But remember the horrible dinner she made for my birthday? Remember that?
Yeah, that was yeah, it was rolled cold cuts and shit like that. It was the worst. It was the most embarrassing display of food for any occasion ever.
She's a horrible.
And she was like, "Isn't that good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love deli food during a celebration."
Yeah, we love. Thanks for the Lunchables for birthday. She's a disgusting person.
I know, right? Yeah, Oscar Mayer special.
I mean, she's a repulsive witch.
I think he's failing. Remember that with the dog?
Yes.
Your dog's dying, like the dog you've had for years. And she said, I think he's failing. And your dad was like, you're failing. That's what he said to her.
Yeah. Yeah, Christina goes, I think the dog is failing. That's the way she speaks to human beings. That's the way she talks about living things. She's very uncomfortable with living. She prefers death. Like when my Uncle Carl had late-stage brain cancer, she went to the house to be around him when he died because she prefers death to life.
Remember that house they got out in Huntington?
Yeah, it's the witness protection program.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, your dad's funny. I remember you were starving. You were practically living on the street. And he got you a coat. He says, I got you a coat, son. And it was that blue coat with bird shit on it that he ripped off some dock worker somewhere.
Yeah, he found it was a coat that was literally from a homeless shelter from Goodwill that had bird shit on it, and he gave it to me. This is his wife. When she moved, they got married in 11th grade. I was in 11th grade. And she tried to convince him to take me out of Catholic school. I was dragged to Catholic school, kicking and screaming, Holy Trinity. And then she goes, take him out in his senior year. Now, by the way, the school that I would have gone to was Lakeview, which is a school of all gang members. And then I went to summer school there once. There was this Italian woman, Miss Ruisi, who used to take her tit out and breastfeed her kid in the back of class. So that's where my stepmother wanted to send me to school, to school from Dangerous Minds. And my grandfather had to step in and pay the money. So this woman was always like, let's get rid of your kid.
True. Right out of Cinderella. She really is you could put a picture Actually, I should go into Wikipedia and upload a picture of her to stepmother, and just like your average stepmother face. I mean, just laugh. She basically isolated your dad from everybody who he cared about.
It's very true. She took him away from his friends. And so they moved into some little bungalow, and now they're selling that, and they're moving to a bigger house up the block. They're just in that era of life where they're bored, and they need to shuffle things around before the end.
Yeah, no, it's true. Baby boomers either get around 70, they start to get bored, and they like to just buy stuff because they have money, or they die. That's really what happens.
You're a student of the boomer. What is it about these Long Island boomers? They are fascinating people. What is it about them? They're fascinating to me.
They literally get anything they wanted. They're used to it. They got everything they wanted. I mean, Trump's the last boomer president.
It's true.
Obama was a fake boomer president. Obama was more Generation X, even though he was born in 61. But Trump is the perfect example of what happens when a boomer is president.
Right.
That's what happens, folks.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit, God, I could go on and on about boomers. I mean, a high school diploma, you own a house like at the age of 20. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
And they're always aggrieved. They're always aggrieved. Like when you speak to them, they act like nothing went right and they suffered for it. Like I remember when my aunt was talking about COVID, my Aunt Donna goes, I want everyone to stay inside and put masks on. She goes, because you know what? I want to travel because she goes, I deserve it because I've worked hard my whole life. I'm like, and the way she said it, then I realized I'm like, everyone's worked hard their whole life.
Yeah, everybody's worked hard their whole life. It's, not all of us get like a new car when we're 18.
Right.
I mean, my mother got a new car when she was 18. By the way, she worked at a place called the Farmer's Market. And she managed to save up enough money to buy a brand new car when she was 18. Now, I have never bought a brand new car, and I've worked like a slave my entire life. Right. So my newest car, I just bought my newest car. It's from 1995, the truck. It's like all rusty.
What'd you get?
So I had to get a pickup truck because I'm almost full hillbilly at this point.
I love it.
The gun rack in the back window is the next thing.
You better get the guns, man. We better all get the guns because fucking. I'll tell you right now, totally. Biden and Kamala, man, I don't know what they're going to do, but I'd feel a lot better with an arsenal.
Yeah, actually, what you would call it? Well, you want to know something funny is that all the gun stocks, like Smith & Wesson and everything like that, took a dive after Biden won because people were like, all right, well, we won't have to get like military gear to deal with riots and everything. I don't know if you noticed all the riots have disappeared all of a sudden. Right. You don't see a lot of Republicans. You don't see a lot of Republicans rioting or anything like that.
No.
But, Biden and I just, they gave him a softball interview today. I'm constantly watching him, waiting for him to gap or something like that. It'll be fun. You know what? The country will go back to sleep, and that'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. I think it's very possible the country just goes back to sleep. But I think this is what these people want. When you see them all out cheering and dancing and stuff, even though supposedly, according to them, there's a huge pandemic that's killing everyone, and then they go right back out to dancing in the street. It's like, oh, what, are you people on crack?
I mean, what was the last time you danced in the street about anything?
Never.
You know what I mean?
Never, Melanie.
Maybe scoring drugs or stuff like that back in the day after waiting in my car for an hour.
Yes. I mean, we're a deeply childish country. How childish.
Forget it. I know, right? It's a 78-year-old man wins the presidency, and everybody's in the street dancing, sneezing on each other, this disease and everything like that.
It's like, go in your fucking houses.
My friends. Yeah, go in your houses and celebrate in shame like all of us should.
Right. There's no more shame anymore. There's no more, nobody has any shame. Everybody's addicted to having friends and all these disgusting. It's disgusting. If I see somebody over the age of 30 and they have 20 friends, I go, that person is severely mentally ill. If you have more than 5 friends over the age of 30, you're severely mentally ill.
Totally. And it's because they were always bullied when I was a kid. I didn't have any friends. I'm like, who was it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who didn't get a wedgie when they were like 10?
Right.
By like some teenager. I was a teenager one time. This guy named Robert, he grabbed me and my brother. We put us in the trunk of his car. And he drove around in the freezing weather for like an hour. And he dropped us off at a place. We had no idea where we were. It was like a kid. It technically was a kidnapping. And this guy later died at 9/11. I'm not kidding. He's on a 9/11 memorial.
Wait a minute.
He became a stockbroker, and he died at 9/11. Every time I see his photo in the memorial, I say, "Yeah, I know that guy." He packed my brother and I into the back of his Ford Maverick and drove around for an hour.
Well, you get what you give. Melanie Angler,
Exactly.
you are the best. Do you want people to follow you on social media? I always give people, you're a human being, so
why not?
I always give people the choice. Tell people where they can follow you.
Well, I'm on Instagram, Melanie Angler, yeah. Melanie _ Angler _ yeah. That's about it.
YEAH.
Yeah.